Well, hello and welcome. Napoleon Hill's 17 Principles of Personal Achievement, lesson number 12 is about teamwork. And it says, teamwork is harmonious cooperation that is willing, voluntary, and free. Whenever the spirit of teamwork is the dominating influence in business or industry, success is inevitable. Harmonious cooperation is a priceless asset that you can acquire in proportion to your giving. Talk Leadership with Cedrick starts now. Well, hello and welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Everybody needs a little TLC. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Our guiding leadership principle is the law of contribution, which says growing yourself enables you to grow others. See, you can't give what you don't have. So first, you must grow yourself in order to grow others. We believe that outstanding leaders like yourself help us to help others. So tonight, we have two dynamic leaders with us, and I'm so excited to have them on the show. Now, every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guests. So let me do a proper introduction. First, we have Miss Laura Campbell. Now, Laura is a certified John Maxwell International Life and Leadership Coach. She has shared the stage with John C. Maxwell himself and accompanied him and the team on a leadership mission to Costa Rica. Laura is also a certified crisis counselor and the director of education at New York Crisis Center. She has worked with students, families, and schools in crisis, as well as for prevention for the past 13 years. She holds degrees in psychology and human and community services. Through working with youth in crisis, Laura saw the need for trusted adults and found fearless parenting. I like that, fearless parenting. It is a 10-week program to help parents connect with their children, become educated about this new generation, and create the relationship they desire through a carefully designed individual parent mission statement. That's wonderful, folks. Laura is the founder of Infinity Growth and Development, a coaching and training company to help individuals gain clarity, awareness, and the growth needed to create the life they dream about. Let's welcome Ms. Laura Campbell to the show. Thank you.
Thanks, Cedrick.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you here. Next, we have Miss Rhea Altamura. Rhea is the CEO and founder of Day One LLC, a company helping businesses and individuals solve problems. Rhea is a certified coach, behavioral assessment consultant, trainer, and speaker, and a creator of Relentless podcast series. Over the past 30 years, she has held various leadership roles within organizations, large Fortune 100 companies, all the way to small minority owned organizations, and spent many years in the human resources field recruiting technical and accounting professionals. A seasoned contracts management professional, Rhea also delivers workshops, seminars, and speeches focused on mindset, leadership, and transformation. It is her highest objective to help clients reach their desired outcomes. Rhea has a Bachelor's of Arts degree in communication from the University of Houston and a Doctorate of Law degree from Emory University School of Law. Let's welcome Miss Rhea Altamura to the show. Now, I just learned something here. I didn't realize that you had your doctorate degree in law.
Well, it's usually regarded as a JD, but when I
Yeah.
actually look at my diploma, that's what it says. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a Juris Doctor
Hmm.
is what some people regard it as.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you had. I'm gonna have to start calling you Dr. Rhea.
It just qualifies me to sit for a bar exam and be an attorney. That's it.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for being on the show tonight. And I know that the Talk Leadership with Cedrick audience is going to enjoy you tonight. So thank you. So let's just dive right in. I read your bios, and I'll start with you, Rhea. I know I read your bios, but, our listeners normally want to hear from you directly about your journey to leadership, and how did you get to where you are today?
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm so happy and proud to be here with Laura on this evening. Now, my leadership journey started many years ago. I mean, I won't go back to childhood, but granted, I didn't realize at a young age exactly how leadership was defined. But when I think about it, I had the tools even then, and had the goal of becoming a leader, and took on challenges that most leaders would take on, and wanted to lead people, wanted people to follow me. So, I knew good leadership when I saw it. I wanted to be someone people wanted to follow. I wanted to become a person of influence. And as I grew older, I gained an understanding of and saw examples of servant leadership. I also saw examples of leadership that wasn't very good, or acts that were not part of the leadership spectrum. So, fast forward to 2017, when I became part of the John Maxwell team. And that helped me understand what I was going to do with the skill, with the background, with the desire that I had. It made it so clear. Plus, it gave me tools that I've learned, whether they are things like DISC, becoming a DISC consultant. I at the onset, knew of John Maxwell, knew that he was highly regarded in the leadership field, but I had not truly personalized all of the leadership concepts, and I'd still started out with this mindset that leadership was really positional based, and and it helped to be able to understand that I was a leader, everyone on my team is a leader, and it helped me to become a better leader, and help them to become better leaders as well. So, and I've learned so much, whether it's from books or my parents or bad experiences. All of these things come together to make me a better leader, but also make me a better leadership consultant and coach, and even, a friend, a wife, a sister, all of those things.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, life's experiences always helps us um, um, grow and become um, into things that we don't even really think that we're going to become. Right? It's just because of the experiences we grow into these things. That's awesome. So our new grandmother, congratulations, by the way, Laura. So tell us, about your leadership journey, and what helped you arrive to where you are today.
Thank you. So thanks for the invitation to be on your show. Always love to spend time with you. And my journey began, I guess, the oldest of four. So I always felt like I was a leader because my brothers and sisters were always following me, and I was always having to help them with their homework and all of that. But as I grew up, my dad left, and I had to go to work right after high school, and I got a job in a bank, and I was very determined to really rise in that position. I learned as much as I possibly could. And I rose to the ranks of a vice president in New York City. And I did that in banking for about 13 years. And my view of leadership in banking was very similar to what Rhea said. I thought I was a leader because I was a vice president. And I thought the senior vice president was my leader. And it was a very convoluted type of definition in my mind when I look back. So when I had children, I tried to go back to work, but it was too far away and I took a leave. And then I started volunteering when my children went to school in places like crisis centers and in a hospital on Long Island for young people diagnosed with cancer. And so I was working like in a 360 turnaround. It was a whole different world for me. And I really began to see the world in crisis and people really struggling in darkness. And I was living in a bubble. I was, on the 30th floor, Park Avenue, working with high net worth individuals. And I felt like I felt like I needed to change. So when time came to go back to work, my boss offered me my job back and I met him for dinner. And the whole way home, I cried because I thought, I just don't want to go back. I just don't want to do that. And when I got home, my husband said, so did he offer you your job back? And I'm like, yeah. I made a pretty good salary in that job. So I was like, yeah. He goes, so you don't look very happy. And I said, I know. And he said, well, what's wrong? And I said, well, you know what? I'll go back because I said I would. And that was our plan. And he was supporting our family by himself all that time. I said, but I really don't want to. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to help people in crisis. And he said, all the time? Are you kidding me? Why would you want to do that? You have 3 kids. Are you kidding? And I said, it's just what I want to do. And, and he supported me 100%. So I went back to college when I was 40 and I became a crisis counselor. And I was working for Long Island Crisis Center in schools, working with students in crisis, families, and schools in crisis. And after seeing that for 10 years, I thought I need to do something to help these kids before crisis hits. So that led me into my leadership journey. And that's when I discovered the John Maxwell team. And our first, workshop with John, he stood up and he said, the difference between success and significance. And I said, I am in the right place because that's exactly what I couldn't define, Cedrick. Like I couldn't figure out what it was. I loved my job in banking, but it didn't feel anything like crisis work did. And that was the difference. I had success, but wow, when I tasted significance, I was sold.
Wow. Yeah. And, once you taste significant, success will never satisfy, right? Wow. That's awesome. So both you ladies are entrepreneurs, right? Let's just talk about your business. Let's tell the audience about your business and why your business and what separates you from other businesses. So Laura, tell us about your business a little bit.
Well, during COVID, I began Fearless Parenting, and I called it Fearless Parenting because I saw so many parents in fear, and I was one of them. I went through a tough time with my little son when he was in college, and I would have sworn that I was parenting from love. I wanted him to change these poor choices he was making because I loved him so much. And I really convinced myself of that. But the truth was, I was afraid. I was in fear, and I was coming from fear. And so I named it that because I think sometimes with parenting, we come from that place of being afraid rather than coming from love. And it's a fine line when you love someone, especially a child. So I run that program, Fearless Parenting. It's a 10-week program. I also am a life coach, and I have private clients. I run group programs. I've done some speaking work. So that's pretty much what I do. I love life coaching. I love working with people in transition. And I think it was because I did that. changing my life when I was 40, going back to college. I know what it's like when, you know, like my own family would say to me, Laura, you're going to go back to college. When was the last time you wrote a paper? Do you know how to take a statistics test? Like, when was the last time you did that? Are you like, I had people, Cedrick, saying to me, do you need the money? No, if I needed the money, I would have stayed in the other job. But you know, it was like, these were people that loved me, and they were really worried about me. Like, they didn't want me to fail. And I get it now, but at the time, I had wished I had a coach. I had wished I had just someone that said, go for it. Like, you could do this and live it out. But I didn't. I felt really lonely doing that. So I feel like I can bring that to anybody looking to transform, you know, a life that they dreamt about, that they kind of settled for the one they have. I love to help people do that. I love when people get those aha moments and they have that realization, that new awareness.
Right.
I live for that. I think it's just so exciting.
Yeah, that is that aha moment is always exciting and fun. That's awesome. So, Rhea, tell us a little bit about One Day Day One LLC.
One Day Day One LLC came out of a similar experience where, you know, I was going through life. I had achieved what, you know, some people would think was success. I would think that, you know, you've got a great job. I live in the city that I've always wanted, where I've always wanted to live. I'm married to a great man and very happy in my marriage. And I got to a point where I hit a wall and I couldn't understand why I was unhappy. And, you know, and I'm a woman of faith. I pray. I'm very active in my church, but I'd hit this wall, and I'm just trying to figure out. And also, I should mention, and I had a milestone birthday, so that led me to thinking: is this all there is? Is this it? Is this what I have to look forward to going forward? I mean, you know, with great family, surrounded by love, that's wonderful. But I just felt like there was just a hole in my life. And there was something I wasn't experiencing, something I wasn't doing. And I felt that I also was not growing. And I was growing in knowledge in a certain area, becoming a subject matter expert in the work that I do. But I felt like I wasn't growing. And it was very hard. I didn't even have all of the language at that time to be able to articulate what was happening with me. But through a series of events, and, you know, just by no accident, no coincidence, I ended up in at a conference and listening to people speak about personal growth and personal development and changing their mindset. And that was big for me because I can remember hearing people say, I grew up around people who would say, you can't control what you think. You can't control what you think. And I learned that I could. And I learned that I was not alone, that I was not the only person who felt these things. I was not the only person who felt like I was not enough. And I used to think it was all just me.
Yeah.
So One Day Day One came from also the fact that I was a chief procrastinator as well. And, you know, and being able to say, I want to change. One day I'll change. One day I'll change. Now, I did things probably a little backwards when it comes to being an entrepreneur, because some people have, you know, the product and they're ready to go with this, that, and the other, and they get the name of the business. And I set up a business. I created a company. I didn't have a product. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know exactly. I knew I wanted to help people who had experienced what I had experienced, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. And I remember this woman talking to this woman, and she was asking me questions, and she just sort of laughed at me. And she's like, "Well, what are What are you doing? What do you mean you don't know? What do you, and I said then, it will come. It will come to me. I believe that strongly, but right now I don't exactly know, but I know that this is coming. And it came. It did come. And then I discovered the John Maxwell team, or that maybe the John Maxwell team discovered me. I'm not certain, but that was a huge change. So one day one is, we all say one day I'll do this, one day I'll do that. No, today is day one of that one day. Your change starts now. It be in learning about being intentional, learning about our mindset, learning about personal growth. That's what this organization is dedicated to, and helping others reach. Lots of people have dreams. Lots of people have dreams, and it's sad to me to hear that someone has just given up when they're still above ground. So, what does it take to move you closer to that? What does it take to be able to feel fulfilled, significance? We talked about a moment ago about living a life of significance. Helping other people get there is what I'm dedicated to, and right now in this COVID period, this pandemic time, I thought, well, things are not going to be well. Businesses are not going to be interested in hearing from me or someone who's doing the work that I'm doing. And there are plenty of businesses that have that I would have been able to connect with. And one of my primary businesses that I'd connected with previously, not open, but people, individuals would come to me, started coming to me, asking for. I had one woman come to me. She said she didn't know exactly what I did, but she thought that maybe she needed to talk to me, and wondered if she could call me one day. Like, oh yeah, you can call. Let's talk. So I'm doing much more coaching but there are other things on the horizon. So I'm really looking forward to talking a bit more about that. But that's how one day one was started, out of recognizing what I'd experienced and wanting to help people get beyond that wall that I'd run into.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. That's phenomenal. We'll definitely talk more about what you guys are doing, but you also have a live show every week on Tuesday, right? So tell me about your show. I know that I tune in from time to time to see what you guys are doing, trying to get a peek behind the curtain. So let's talk about your show on Tuesday. What time is it? How can people find it? And what topics you guys talk about?
Well, let's see. You want to go, Laura? You want me to go? Right. It's called Tune In Tuesday with Laura and Rhea. And you know what? And I'm very proud of this effort, because it started out, we didn't know what we were going to do. It's one of those lessons where, quite often people think, I need to get this together, that together. I need to do this, that. I need to have all of these things, all of our ducks in a row before I jump. And Laura and I just jumped. And we jumped into all kinds of stuff. But I mean, we had all kinds of, we learned technology as we went. We didn't know. I think I was holding my phone by hand, the very first episode. And, we learned about lighting and, all kinds of things we've learned, but it is focused on personal growth. And we talk about topics that lead to living a ridiculously amazing life. And we all have our own definition of what that is. But some of the topics are very personal. And then we have gone through, Laura and I were sharing the other day that we've gone through weddings together and still broadcast. We've gone through funerals together and still broadcast every week.
I remember once you guys went through, it was at IMC, because I remember when you guys started, right? Laura and you guys were in a coaching program I had, and Laura said, we got to do this at IMC, and we got to figure out, because there's going to be noise out in the hallway, and how we're going to do it. But you guys still did it, right, Laura?
We did do it. And, you know, we haven't really missed a week, you know. We've really been dedicated to this. And Rhea and I met in a coaching partnership. And we just, I mean, I adore Rhea. I love her so much. And she is such a right-hand person for me. You know, one of the things I've learned about being an entrepreneur and, you know, blazing a trail is you need somebody with you. And having that inner circle of people has been so instrumental. And Rhea is such an inner circle person for me. So I think the fact that we just you know, we just love each other. And we also are on this journey that we share every Tuesday night. We're living it, right? So Rhea and I will talk about like, hey, what have you been, you know, learning about this week? Or what have you been working on this week? What have you been journaling on this week? And that's how we come up with topics, unless people request topics. So we are living this life, and we feel like we live a ridiculously amazing life. It's full. It's good and bad. It's happy and sad, but it's full. And we want to share it. And personal growth has been so instrumental for both of us that we want to share it with anyone that's interested in growing.
Well, that is awesome.
And we've been sharing for more than 2 years now. 2 years, more than, what is it? Almost 140 episodes we've done.
Oh, wow. You guys are in syndication now.
Give us that syndication check. That's right.
We have been on vacation where we have left our families and
Yes.
gone and found a secluded corner so that we could do our 30 minutes.
In foreign countries. We've been in foreign countries and done this. Yes.
On cruises.
On cruises. That's right.
Wow, you guys are just amazing. That's awesome. So let me ask you this. So what makes you smile when you get up in the morning? Just tell me one thing that makes you smile when you get up in the morning. Laura, you want to go first?
I think what makes me smile in the morning when I get up is hope, and that I can be an example for somebody if it's possible. I think just that alone makes me smile when I wake up.
Awesome. Rhea?
Possibility. You know, that I have an opportunity, that I have each day. I have another opportunity to do whatever it happens to be, but just, you know, and just grateful for the other. Now I also smile on Fridays. You know, I do. I do. It's Friday.
Yeah, well, I definitely understand that. You know, leaders come in all different types of packages with different types of strengths, right? So help our audience, give our audience, each of you guys, give us one or two strengths that you think are important for leaders.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
You can
I can start, and some of this is based on my experience, but I'll start with vulnerability. That from my experience, this made the greatest impact on my team when I took the chance, took the risk, and started making myself more vulnerable. It changed the tone of our meetings, of our interactions, and in a very positive way. So I think vulnerability is important. And then also as a second thing, communication skills, and it helps to share stories. It helps to share stories with your team. and give them examples and let them know that there are other ways to do things. But stories really do make a difference in communicating, but definitely becoming a clear and often simple communicator.
Mhm.
Awesome. A good communicator. Okay. Awesome. Laura, what about yourself?
I mean, I think those are so key. And going along the lines of vulnerability, empathy, right? Being able to have empathy for someone else, true empathy. And empathy is not like, I know how you feel. Empathy is help me to understand how you feel. I care enough to want to know how you feel. And I think also being a lifelong learner, like being a leader who's still learning and growing. I've had leaders that weren't doing that, and it makes a big difference. And just listening, being able to listen, that's a skill. To actively listen is such a skill. I think those are some important strengths.
And one more too, seeing your people as people. It really seeing them and not as cogs in a wheel or people who have been assigned a task, but seeing them as individuals. Because when people know that you care, it makes a difference in the way that they work, in the way that they respond to you, in the way that in the amount of care that they have for the jobs that they do.
You're absolutely right. I absolutely love that one. So, ladies, we have a segment that we call Would You Rather? So, we want you to, let's see here. All right. So, Rhea, would you rather know all the world's languages or speak with animals?
Uh, I'd rather. Ooh, I think I'd rather speak with animals.
Okay. Laura, would you rather dine alone for dinner or go to a concert alone?
I would rather go to a concert alone.
Concert alone. Uh-oh, so nobody can see how you partying. Okay, I got you. Rhea, would you rather go skydiving or bungee jumping?
I'd rather go bungee jumping.
Bungee jumping. Okay. All right. Laura, would you rather meet your great grandparents or meet your great grandchildren?
Meet my great grandchildren.
Mhm.
Great grandchildren. Okay. All right. Two more. Rhea, would you rather have free gas for 25 years or have your dream car?
Free gas for 25 years.
Okay.
That's right.
That's pretty quick.
It is. Whatever gas or tank I'm putting that gas in, that's my dream car. So yeah.
All right. So Laura, would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or have $100,000 in real money?
$100,000 in real money.
100 in real money. Okay. All right. Rhea, I'm gonna throw that question to you too. So $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
Oh man, I feel like I've already spent $1 million on Amazon. But I would like to have I'll take the 1 million. I'll take the 1 million. With Amazon Prime, you can buy food. You can buy, just all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clothes.
Everybody shops on Amazon all day anyway, right? Yeah, I said I would take the $1 million and I would try to buy Visa and MasterCard gift cards from Amazon and then turn that into real cash, right? Now, one of my guests really up-leveled my thinking around this. He said, I will take the $1 million in Amazon gift cards and then I would buy gift cards for all the homeless people and needy people. And I was like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about somebody else. See, that was good.
That is good. That's very good.
That's where my head was like, well, if I took the 100,000, I could give it away. But yeah, that's even better.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for playing Would You Rather.
All
Um,
right.
so, good leaders ask great questions, right? So, what have been some of the best questions that you have asked, or someone has asked of you, and you say, wow, that's a great question? So, Laura, you want to go first?
Hmm. One of the questions I ask myself is when I have a thought or a belief, does this thought serve my desire? Does is this belief going to get me where I want to be? I
Okay.
also, yeah, because I've had a lot of beliefs in my life that weren't going to get me anywhere near what I wanted to be or where I wanted to be.
Hmm.
And another question I ask myself is, are you living your best life? And if
Oh,
not, why?
are you living your best life? I love that.
And if not, why? You know, um, so those are just some questions I ask myself, and I've asked them to other people as well.
Wow. Like that. Rhea?
Let's see. First question to myself: are you choosing commitment or convenience?
Yes.
And then another question, which I must admit, I just saw this question yesterday, and I used it already twice today. It is, what would this look like if it were easy?
Oh man, that's a good question.
I didn't create that, but I used it. So yes.
Awesome. I really like that question. That's a very good one. Wow, thank you very much for that. So, you guys talked about your business and why you're doing your business. So, tell our audience something that you're doing right now in your business, or something new you may be having coming out. We're in December, holiday season. You have things for audience to take part in, or take part in for the new year.
Well,
Rhea, you want to go first?
Me or Laura? Rhea?
Oh no, Rhea.
Oh, okay. All right. So during the month of December, I will be doing or offering a free. Okay, Cedric, don't get upset. Don't get upset. I will be
No charge.
offering a complimentary a complimentary mini class for my group related to barriers, related to overcoming barriers. And then in the month of January, I will be rolling out my first ever class on procrastination. Now, not a how to, but how to overcome. And it's called Procrastination
Well, everybody
Annihilation.
already know how to procrastinate, right?
Yeah.
Go to
I
real
can have a,
class. He's going to tell you how to put everything off.
that's right. I have a PhD in that. I do have a PhD in that. But yeah, Procrastination Annihilation is the name of the course. So that is coming in January. So there'll be more information in my relentless living group. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And we will put any links that they have in the comment section for you. So that sounds good. Now, Laura, what do you have going on?
well, I have a show on the Empowered Living site. It's it's a site that's a lifestyle kind of programming, and it's on Facebook, and it's called Fearless Influencing. And it's really a program that I am alongside of Monica Madden, who is awesome. I am ever so blessed to be with her on this. And we've combined our forces in our mission, and we've got strong mission. So this program creates and serves trusted adults for youth. So whether you are a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a teacher, a coach, or a caring person who wants to lead this generation well and wants to learn a little bit more about it, And what does that involve? Who is a trusted adult and how do you become one? That's what this show is about. So it's on Wednesdays at noon on the Empowered Living page. I also am.
Is that noon Eastern time? Or
Yes.
Central?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I'm
It's
also.
starting when? Starting when?
December
When does
1st,
it
it
start?
started. So I'm also running the Fearless Parenting Program. And, there'll be links for that as well. And then I have a Facebook page called Be an Influencer for Youth. And I show up in that page a lot. As you can tell, this is my mission, is working with, Cedrick and Rhea knows too, working with young people who have felt suicidal, who may have attempted suicide. We do a safety plan with them after we have that discussion. And in the safety plan, we ask them about one trusted adult. And I can't tell you how many times students will say, I don't have any of those. I don't have a trusted adult. And so it is a mission of mine to create more trusted adults, because this generation is struggling. They are the highest diagnosed generation in history, and we are leading them. So
Awesome.
that's a little bit about what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. I like Fearless Parenting Program. Search Institute is the largest education-based research organization around youth and education, educating youth. And they did a study. It's called their developmental relationship study. And developmental relationships are the same thing as you're talking about as trusted adult. And in the survey, they surveyed these students across all socioeconomic areas or socioeconomic conditions. And 40% of the students said they either had one or zero adult developmental relationship or trusted adult relationship. Right. And that's really sad when you think about that. Right. That means they have either one or no adult that they can go to for advice, coaching, mentoring, just have a conversation. Right. And they really, really need it right now. So this is awesome work that you're going to be doing in the youth space. So excited about that. So tell me, what's been one of the most defining moments in your life, Rhea?
Well, I think that it was. Okay, so I guess I had to be truthful here, huh? Okay, so it was turning 50, and what came with that, having to face myself and recognize that most likely I'd lived the majority of my life thus far, and what was I going to do going forward, and recognizing that I was responsible for that I was responsible for the choices that I've made, and that kickstarted all of the things that I'm experiencing now. But that was it. That was where that proverbial rubber met the road for me.
Wow. Laura, so tell me, what's one of the best things that happened to you this year?
Oh, well, that's easy. My daughter just had a baby, so it's my first grandchild. I'm actually at her house now, which is why my lighting is not very good, because I'm not in a studio or even at home. But so yes, we have a baby, Cedrick, and she's so beautiful, and I'm so grateful, so grateful.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. That's always exciting. So, growth has to be intentional, right? And so what do you guys do for personal growth and development? And either one can answer that.
Well, I read. I read a lot. I've been reading a lot more, especially since COVID-19 came to us. I listen to podcasts. I follow people who share knowledge, who share good knowledge, good solid knowledge. And then also, as far as my daily routine, my daily journey, I journal a lot. I journal a lot. And I am as I said before, a woman of faith. So I pray for understanding. I pray for wisdom. I pray for greater self-awareness. And I want to be very intentional about going for those things every single day, but then also taking it, if I'm documenting, taking it, sharing it, and living it. So that's largely what I do.
Wow. And Laura, in that same realm of growth and development, just a little bit different question around that. Um, uh, do you have a mentor? And if so, how has that mentor impacted your professional journey?
Yes, I've actually had several mentors. And I honestly don't know where I would be without that, because as I said, my circle, when I first learned about an inner circle, I had no idea, right? What is this inner circle thing? The world was my inner circle. I was going to help the world, and the world was going to help me. And I was wondering why I wasn't growing. So I quickly learned that, yeah, I wanted to find someone who went before me. I wanted to learn from someone. And that was life-changing for me. Honestly, Cedrick, that was a key to everything and everywhere I am right now. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't be happier in the life that I'm in. I don't think there's one thing that I could mention right now that would make my life better. So having a mentor, a coach, and you've been one of those people for me, Cedrick. You've been one of those people for me from the day I met you. So I still hear your voice in my head at times, and that is not a lie. I hear your voice in my head. And I have such love for you, because you are such a servant leader and such a selfless person. You would take hours talking to me. You didn't even know me. And you gave me cards. Mm-hmm. that from the floor leadership that I still have, and a bracelet. And that was the day we met. So yes, I would say to anybody, if you want to grow, find somebody that's done it before you.
Yeah. Well, Toni Morrison said, the function of freedom is to free someone else. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's really what mentors can do. They can help free you in terms of helping you realize what you're doing is right, or maybe helping you realize that, hey, you need to change some things. Right. But it frees your mind once you realize good, bad, or indifferent. Right. So that's awesome. And Laura, one of the things, and both you guys were in my accountability partnership program, but one of the things I remember about Laura is in Costa Rica is when we had a big conversation, and we had a really good time in transforming the country of Costa Rica. Right. But I just remember in the hotel lobby where we met, and you were like, "You're Cedrick?"
Absolutely. I wasn't going to miss that opportunity to meet you.
That was fun. I enjoyed that trip and that time and our journey.
And I'll tell you, when she came back, she was telling me, "You've got to meet Cedrick. And I'll tell you about Cedrick. You've got to meet him." And there are, in the time that you and I work together, there are some lessons. You notice how I hesitated to say the word free.
Yes, because I teach people, don't use the word free. You may use no charge or complimentary. But free,
I changed it. I
Yes,
switched.
you did. I like that. So, we've all had successes, right? But we've also all had failures, things that maybe didn't work out the way we thought it was going to work out, right? So let's talk about that. Tell us about one time you failed, and what did you learn from it, and what was the failure, and what did you learn from it? So, Rhea, you want to go first?
Well, I can talk about something that Laura and I tried together. We had success in doing. We did 2 masterminds, and then we put together a package. And we've been through disc training, and we had all kinds of things thrown into this, and it was what we thought at the time. It was stellar, and we didn't understand why anyone wouldn't sign up for it. And what we lacked was an understanding of, we now talk about avatar. We now learned about avatars, but we lacked the understanding of our audience, what they needed at the time. And I'll tell you, Cedrick, I couldn't even give it away. I couldn't get my cousin to sign up for free.
Not your cousin.
My cousin. And she'd been through one of our masterminds and loved it. But I couldn't get her on for free. There was no one. And we had good artwork, but what we didn't have was market research. What we didn't have was the understanding of our avatar. What we didn't have was the idea that we were meeting the people where they needed to be met. And we were looking at an audience of people that would not have been interested, because partly we were trying to market to John Maxwell team members. Well, they were doing something similar. So yeah, we did learn. It hurt too. It did, but because I think we thought that we had so much faith in our message, and thought others would want to hear what we had. How could they not want to hear what we had to say?
How dare they?
But understanding that this is all part of a business. This is, although people buy from people, not just people that they like, but people that they trust too.
Right.
But you're not buying just a business, you're buying into people. We got all of that, but we had to understand that this is a business, and there are certain rules and traditions or things that happen in a business that you have to make certain you're abiding by. Right. So that was part of it. And that was a lesson that I still carry with me as I prepare for courses and offers going forward.
Awesome. So Laura, what would you say to that question? What's something you failed at, and what you learned from it?
When my son was in college and it was a really hard time and he was making a lot of poor choices, I tried to change him. I tried for a year and a half to change him. And during that year and a half, I failed miserably, and my marriage was suffering. My other 2 children were angry with me. I tried to quit my job, but my supervisor didn't accept it at the time. I felt like, how could I help other people in crisis when I can't help myself? It was a moment where I really, really felt like I was failing miserably with my own child. And what I learned from it was, when I started to work on me, when I started to really dive into growing myself and seeing what I'm made from and who and whose I am, that's all I had to do. I didn't have to change my son. All I had to do was change me. And when I started to change and I started to respond differently to him, he changed. And I remember that day that he said, "I need your help and I'll do whatever you say." And I thought, all I had to do was change me. For almost 2 years, I tried to change someone else. And what I learned from that is, you don't have to change anybody else in this world to live a great life, because you have full control over yours.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. So, Rhea, so you're in your house. It's just you and your 4 walls, and nobody else is there. It's you. What dessert do you eat?
It's the stuff with the sugar in it. Oh, I mean that's a very good thing. So my favorite desserts, and I am a baker too. So my favorites are banana pudding, and not the banana pudding with the Jello instant mix in it. That's not banana pudding. That's not real banana. But the banana pudding with the custard. Yes, that's my favorite. Did you just lick your lips when I said that?
It was just it was. My lips were dry, and just so happened it happened at that same time.
Banana pudding and peach cobbler.
Okay.
Those are my favorites.
Okay. All right, Miss Laura. There's nobody around. It's just you and the four walls. What's that dessert?
Easy one for me. Rhea's brownies are my favorite dessert in the world. Rhea's brownies, you want to lick your lips, now's the time to do it, because her brownies, she puts cherries in her brownies.
What?
Like chocolate chunks of, and sometimes dried cranberry. I've never in my life, when Rhea makes me brownies, I don't even share them.
Wait, you are a leadership coach. You're talking about sharing with others.
But not Rhea's brownies. No.
Okay. All right. I got you. So we have like 3 minutes left. Question for you, for each of you. Laura, you go first. If there was a book that was written about you, what would the title of the book be, and what would the summary in the back say about you?
The title of the book would be The Power of Love, and the summary would say that it's the only way to bring people together. It's the only way to go through darkness, and it's the only way to erase hatred.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that. Miss Rhea, what would your book title be?
Rhea Relentless.
Rhea Relentless. Okay.
Rhea Relentless. And this is a lesson in understanding the difference between delay and denial, of building momentum, of becoming unstoppable, and reigniting the wants and wishes until they become burning white hot desires.
Wow.
Plus, the importance of having a good pound cake recipe.
Well, that's a good bonus in that book. Sign me up for that book. Oh, wow. This has been an awesome hour. It's gone by way too quick.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed you guys being on the show. Hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. So audience, let's thank Laura Campbell and Rhea Altamura for being on the show. And I want you to just type in the comments, yes, Laura, and yes, Rhea, if you enjoyed the show. I know you did, but I want you to type it in the comments to let them know you enjoyed them. Tuesday nights, they have a show. What time is it again?
6:00 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern time. They have a show on Facebook, and so folks, check them out. Laura is going to be doing a show on the Empowered Living platforms. The Empowered Living platform, just in case you don't remember, has 2.1 million subscribers on the platform. This is the same platform that we air the Black Entrepreneurs Institute live show. So tune in and listen to Laura on Wednesday nights, right, Laura? No, Wednesday afternoons at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And so, folks, thank you again for tuning in tonight. Talk Leadership with Cedrick. We always enjoy our guests. Now, remember, on Monday nights, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is on with a guest. Tuesday night, 5:30 Central Time, we're always on with a guest. Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we are on the Empower Living Network. 7:30 p.m. Central Time, we're back here on Facebook with Talk with TK in the Mindset 180 Academy, where she's talking to athletes about mental performance. And then Thursdays, check out Talk Leadership with Cedrick on the radio, 2 p.m. Central Time on the IBGR.net.